Introduction. Today, we will learn about the chapter, The Reader of Books. This chapter is an extract taken from Matilda by Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl was a British novelist, short story writer, poet, and screenplay writer. He also served as a fighter pilot. He wrote many wonderful books for children. This story is taken from his book Matilda. Matilda was a little girl who loved reading books. Every afternoon, she used to go out of her house all alone and walk to the public library in the village where she lived. The librarian of the library was Mrs. Phelps. When Matilda came to the library, she politely asked Mrs. Phelps if she could sit inside and read some books. Mrs. Phelps was surprised to see such a small girl coming to the library alone without her parents. Still, she allowed Matilda to sit and read. Matilda asked Mrs. Phelps to show her the children's books section. Mrs. Phelps showed her the lowest shelf where the children's books were kept. From that very day onwards, Matilda came to the library every afternoon, toddled down to the library, and started reading children's books. After finishing all the children's books, Matilda wandered around in search of something else to read. Mrs. Phelps had been watching Matilda for the past few weeks. She became curious and asked Matilda, "Can I help you?" When Matilda says she has already read all the children's books, Mrs. Phelps is amazed. She cannot believe that such a small child can read so much. Mrs. Phelps asked Matilda whether she had only looked at the pictures in the books. Matilda replied that she had not only looked at the pictures, but had also read all the books completely. Mrs. Phelps was shocked to hear this. Matilda shared her opinions about the books too. She said that some books were poor, but others were lovely. She liked The Secret Garden the most because it was full of mystery. When Mrs. Phelps asked Matilda about her age, Matilda replied that she was 4 years and 3 months old. This surprised Mrs. Phelps even more. Mrs. Phelps then asked Matilda what kind of book she wanted to read next. Matilda said she wanted to read a really good book that grown-ups read, but she did not know the names of such books. Mrs. Phelps suggested Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. She also told Matilda that if the book felt too long or difficult, she could choose something simpler and easier for Matilda. For the next few days, Mrs. Phelps continued watching Matilda reading quietly at the far end of the library. It was a pleasant and surprising sight to see such a small girl deeply interested in reading. Mrs. Phelps appreciated Matilda's love for books. Mrs. Phelps felt sad every evening when it was time to close the library. She would walk up to Matilda and gently say, "It's 10 to 5, Matilda." Within a week, Matilda finished reading Great Expectations, which had 411 pages. She told Mrs. Phelps that she loved the book and asked whether Charles Dickens had written any more books. Mrs. Phelps happily replied that Dickens had written many books and offered to choose another one for her. Complete the sentences. Every afternoon, Matilda made it a habit to answer, "Toddle down to the library." When Matilda finished reading all the children's books, she wandered around in search of something else. The book Matilda enjoyed the most was one that was full of mystery. Matilda said that she was 4 years and 3 months old. Mrs. Phelps had been observing the child for many days. Who was Mrs. Phelps observing? Answer: Mrs. Phelps had been watching Matilda. What question did she ask the child? Answer: she asked, "Can I help you, Matilda?" Mrs. Phelps spoke about looking at pictures in the books. Who made this comment and to whom was it said? Answer: Mrs. Phelps said this to Matilda. How did the child reply to this remark? Answer: Matilda replied that she had read the books as well, not just looked at the pictures. Matilda shared her opinion about the books she had read. Which book did she enjoy the most? Answer: Matilda liked The Secret Garden the most. What was the reason for her liking this book? Answer: she liked it because it was full of mystery. Mrs. Phelps asked Matilda about her next reading choice. What kind of book did Matilda wish to read? Answer: she asked for a really good book that grown-ups read. Which book was suggested to her by the librarian? Answer: Mrs. Phelps gave her Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Why was it not easy for Mrs. Phelps to select a book for Matilda? Answer: Mrs. Phelps found it difficult because Matilda was very young but had already read all the children's books and wanted to read books meant for grown-ups. Why did Mrs. Phelps feel unhappy when she had to tell Matilda it was time to leave? Answer: she felt sad because Matilda had to stop reading and leave the library, and Mrs. Phelps enjoyed watching her read. Grammar, adverbs A. Complete the sentences using suitable adverbs. Noam's mother questioned him angrily about his delay. Madhu dropped the bowl clumsily. Swapnil works quietly without disturbing others. Since the vase is glass, lift it carefully. Because Madhur was tired, he walked slowly. Our teacher tells us to write neatly.